Hey everyone, Terry the Real Estate Guy here. I hope you're having a great day today. I am super excited to bring this video to you on the top 5 secrets to win the bidding war in real estate. So, when buying a house in a pandemic or any hot market, we need to talk about a few things. Number one, we need to talk about what the statistics are in the marketplace. So real fast, home listings are down about 31% versus last year, right? And interest rates are down they start with a 2 point something, right? And so what's happening is you have a lot of people wanting to buy a home, and then you have, because of the interest rates, and then you have a lot of people that have kind of hunkered down and decided not to put their house on the market. They're working virtually, they're not being relocated, and it has caused a little bit of an inventory crisis in America in terms of the number of listings on the market. According to realtor.com, as far back as July of 2020, we have a 31% decrease in inventory versus a year ago. So strategy number one is work with an experienced agent. What do I mean by experience? Well, a lot of people would say 5 years or more would be experienced. But if you think about it, an agent that's been in the business 5 years, that goes back to 2015. An experienced agent should have experienced a downturn in the market and an upturn in the market. So they should have experienced at least one of those cycles. And so you really have to go all the way back to 2008. So if someone got started in 2007 or 2008 and they experienced the Great Recession, those are the folks that have experience, right? So think about it. It's just simple math. 2020 minus 2008, that's somebody with at least 12 years experience if you want someone who's survived a tough time and thrived in a good time. Why is that important? Because those agents know how to win. Number one, they know how to win. And number two, they know everybody. When you have an agent that knows everybody in a competitive environment, they know like houses that are going to go on the market before you do, right? That's called a pocket listing. If you work with an agent that's been in the business 10, 12, 15, 20, 30 years or more, that means the more people they know, the more clients they would have had and built their book of business, and they can help you find an off-market property. And because most agents are so localized, right, into like a single school district or a little town, whatever it is, right? They rarely work outside of a 10 to 15 mile radius of their home. Those agents then are in a position to really help you if you're in that area. So, experienced agent that's working in the area that you want to live in, that is what you're looking for, okay? So that's number one. Let's go to number two. Strategy number two, when you're making an offer, put down an obscene amount of earnest money. An obscene amount, not just more, an obscene amount. Why in the world would you do that? And what is defined as obscene? Well, you might be asking Terry, hey, why would I do this? This seems like I'm putting my money at risk. Well, let's talk about a couple of reasons why I think this would be a good idea. Number one, in a multiple offer situation, and typically in this market, we're seeing anywhere between 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 offers on a property, depending on the actual property itself, the price range, all that stuff. And so when I say obscene, let's just take my market for a second. So in the local Atlanta market, we've got about a $250,000, $300,000 house is kind of an entry price point in the area that I live in, okay? Most of the time, agents are encouraging their buyers to put down a 1% earnest money. 1%, that's it. So $3,000. So people get that. What if you put down 3 or 4 times that? What if you put down $12,000 in earnest money? $12,000 in earnest money is going to do one thing. I guarantee it's going to do one thing, and that's going to get the seller's attention. So if you've got 5 offers on the table, and you're the only person that puts $12,000 down, 4 times the normal, you're going to get the seller's question, and you're going to get longer eyeballs on your contract. So your number one question should be, what should it be? It should be, aren't I putting all of my money at risk? Let's talk about that for a second. So if you're following secret number one and you're using an experienced real estate agent, right? Those agents know how to protect your money, and they should be very, very good at it. I'm not an expert in every State of the Union's contract, but every association of realtors has their own unique contract in each state. Now, the 2 states that I'm licensed in, I know for certain there's this thing called a due diligence period. And a due diligence period is more like a free pass, like a free look. That means that if you negotiate a 14-day or a 10-day, 7-day due diligence period, whatever is customary in your market, that's the time that you're supposed to get your home inspections done, right? You're supposed to do your termite letter. You're supposed to do your radon test. Any of the inspections that you want to do, you do during that due diligence period, right? But during that due diligence period, if you don't like the way the curtains are listed on or are hung on the wall there, you can like get your contract money back at any time. Your earnest money comes back to you. Now, double check with your experienced agent to make sure that's the case, right? Because that's important. You need to understand when your money is put at risk and when it isn't. So when you put down an obscene amount of earnest money, then that means that if you're under due diligence, your earnest money can come back to you. And all you've done was just use a technique to get more eyes on your contract, okay? A couple more things, right? The benefits for this. So the seller immediately notices you. They start asking questions to their agent about you. Then that agent starts calling your agent and asking questions about, like, why would they do this? Why did they put down so much earnest money? And you could say, because they really wanted the house. They really wanted to make sure they locked down this house. They love this house. They want to raise their kids in this house. And all the stuff that your agent will go to bat for you for is going to get you more attention. They honestly can't believe that someone will put this much earnest money down. And then the more time they spend asking their agent asks questions to your agent and you ask questions about this particular person, all of a sudden you're getting all of the eyeball time on your contract. And those other 4 contracts, they don't mean anything, right? They're gone. You have found a way to leverage time and eyeballs with those sellers. Okay. All right. That's number 2. Strategy number 3. That's, by the way, it's one of my favorite strategies. I kind of threw it in here early. Write the seller a little note about yourself. Now, I want to throw out a great big disclaimer, big warning here, okay? Federal fair housing laws, there has been some discussion that this violates the federal fair housing laws. Well, what do you mean by that, Terry? Well, I've just had some classes and some training on it, and it's just come up. You know, you got to be very, very careful about doing that. That said, people are doing it all over the place. So I've gotten Christmas cards, I've gotten letters with family pictures. I got pictures of a dog and a couple and this long, huge story that says why this house is perfect for them, right? This is a technique that works, and sellers go nuts for it. But why? Why do sellers go nuts for it? Well, let me tell you. Sellers go nuts for it because houses are an emotional purchase and an emotional sale for most people. And a seller, well, who do they want to sell to? They want to sell to someone that they like. At the end of the day, most sellers want to know the people that are living in their house, that they like them. And that is really important to a seller. And hey, you know, if you can build that emotional connection, then you can win. So this doesn't work every single time. But if you use this strategy in combination with number 1, the experienced agent, and the next couple that I'm going to share with you, you'll be in good shape, okay? All right, let's talk about number 4. Secret strategy number 4, not quite as fun as the other 3, but this is super important. Instead of getting pre-approved for a loan, why don't you consider getting pre-underwritten for a loan? Well, Terry, what do you mean by that? Well, let me talk about the basics of how the loan process works, right? You decide you want to go and buy a house. So what do? Your agent or somebody you know is a loan officer, right? Your agent refers you to somebody maybe, and you make that phone call and you're like, hey, Mr. Loan Officer, I want to buy a house. That is awesome. We'd love for you to get a mortgage through us. Would you like us to get you pre-qualified? Absolutely, pre-qualified. So pre-qualified basically means you've given them your social security number, they've run a background, slight credit score, and looked at your payment history and stuff, and then they write this letter that says, you know, Joe and Susie Smith are pre-approved up to so much money at a certain interest rate. And then there's a disclaimer. How this loan has not been underwritten, right? It's contingent, that pre-qualification letter is contingent upon you being underwritten for a loan. Well, why don't you go do that first? Because if you're underwritten first, then you have all the power on the back end. So what I mean by that is if somebody is coming to bring an offer on my own personal home, and the agent tells me these people are pre-underwritten and these people are pre-qualified, everything else being the same, I'm going with the pre-underwritten person because I know that they've turned in all their documents. I know their job has been verified with the lender. A pre-underwritten loan is basically a guaranteed loan. The only thing that hasn't happened yet is they haven't found the house, okay? So absolutely, number 1, you must get pre-approved. But number 2, if you really want to do this game right and you win the multiple bidding war, multiple offer bidding war, you have to get pre-underwritten, okay? All right, if you don't know what underwritten means, let me just kind of say it real quick. There's all these government laws and rules about mortgages and who can get a mortgage, how the banks have to underwrite them, right? And all that stuff. And an underwriter basically follows all of the federal guidelines, the check boxes, and checks them all off so that when that loan is finally closed, that mortgage company can take your underwritten loan and they can take it to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac and they will insure that loan. And once that loan is insured by Fannie and Freddie, they can go sell that loan as a commodity on the open markets, right? So we could buy mortgages if we wanted to as an investment vehicle. That's what being underwritten means, okay? All right. Again, pre-underwriting says that you're ready to buy today and you've gone through all of the hoops, jumped through all the hoops. The only thing you need right now is a house. And your experienced agent, again, going back to this experienced agent thing, your experienced agent will know this and she'll be able to, he or she will be able to sell this big time to the seller of the house that you're buying. Okay, last tip. Secret tip number 5, put in an escalation clause in the contract. Put in an escalation clause in the contract. What does that mean? Well, an escalation clause, quite simply, is just a phrase you put in your contract that automatically increases your offer price in the event of a multiple offer to match or beat the number 1 position. Okay, so practically speaking here, let's kind of walk through this. Practically speaking, let's say you have 5 offers on the house, right? And you're sitting at number 3. You're losing. You're losing. You're not going to get that house sitting at number 3. And if you've done everything else in this video and you're still sitting at number 3, and you're using an experienced agent, you put down an obscene amount of earnest money, and you've written a letter about you and your dog, and you've been pre-underwritten for your loan, and nothing else works, then this whole thing about an escalation clause could put you over the fence. Now, is it possible to sit number 3 and still win the contract? Absolutely, because when you've got 5 contracts on the table, they're not just looking at price most of the time. Most of the time, they're looking at who is the agent. Do I know the agent? If the agent's been around forever, oh, I know Susie Smith. Susie Smith's the best agent in town. I've known her for years, right? She's legendary. Her deals close, right? These people put down an obscene amount of earnest money. Maybe we should give them a second look, even though they're sitting in 3rd position, right? And then number 3 and number 4, you do all those things, right? And then, but you're still sitting 3rd. What if you could just bump above everybody with just a simple paragraph in the contract? Why wouldn't you do that? That is what an escalation clause is designed to do. It's designed to get you to the top. Now, I never used to like those, and I didn't. I was like, man, if you're going to go big early and bring me your best offer. But I lost a lot of competitive situations because someone had this escalation clause and I didn't. So we started using it, and it works magic. So there you go. Those are those 5 secret tips. So do me a favor. If this brought you any value whatsoever, can you do me a giant favor? I'm trying to build our YouTube channel to provide value to other home buyers and people interested in real estate out there in YouTube land. Can you subscribe? Just hit the subscribe button and share this video. YouTube likes it when people share. So if you know friends or family members who are looking to buy or sell a house, I guarantee you these 5 tips, they're gonna do a good job for you, okay? And hopefully I helped you get the house of your dreams. And thanks for watching. Tune in again. Until next time, I'm Terry, the Real Estate Guy.